The ultimate competitive Fortnite Iceberg with 100 brand new entries, including completely forgotten cheating scandals, one of which involving a celebrity rapper, to unbelievable clutch moments, and maybe some moments that are better forgotten. This is a sequel to my previous comp Iceberg, but you don't have to watch it, so enjoy. The FN comp rankings are a resource that gained lots of notoriety in the past few months. It attempts to rank every Fortnite player based on an in-depth mathematical formula that factors in everything from regions, seasonal longevity, game modes, and individual player performances. The website gained lots of popularity since they would post a new player's ranking each and every day, and there was lots of anticipation as the days counted down to the number one spot. Ultimately, Booga was revealed to be number one, but Peterbot has since overtaken him. The debate around NA's regions is one of lots of controversy. In early 2023, Epic Games added the NA Central region with servers based in Dallas, no longer having a separate FNCS for East and West. After many years of the player base begging for this to change, Epic finally did it, by making the region split between West and Central, even though the majority of the US population lives on the East. In March of this year, Clix became the second ever competitive player to receive an icon skin. It came bundled with a great announcement video that you could tell was high effort. But many individuals, especially casual players, despise the addition of the skin due to many of Clix's past controversial statements. Fortnite Competitive has been infested with cheaters since the start of 2024. The issue peaked in the latter half of 2024 and serious discussions about competitive dying were had because of it. Fortunately, Epic finally enacted some measures to curb cheating around November of 2024. Despite this, the issue is still pervasive to this day, being especially bad in solo tournaments. FN Comp Report is a content creator who is the usual go-to for all information on the scene, being most active on Twitter. K-Dog is a relative newcomer to the scene of Fortnite competitive content creation, blowing up in 2024 due to his rapid-fire uploads, often coming out within the hour of tournaments ending. In January of this year, Kami, Seti, and Hari got into a pretty heated spawn battle with Podosai, Xweez, and Akira. In the qualifier tournaments, Kami's team generally had the upper hand, frequently talking shit on their Twitter timelines, but when semi-finals came around, both were put into separate heats, meaning that Kami couldn't defend his drop spot anymore, so Kami allegedly paid off another Polish team to go grief Podosai, which was successful and Podosai performed very poorly. Miraculously though, Podosai won a game in the reboot round and qualified the grand finals, and in the grand finals, the script was completely flipped and they wiped Kami's team 5 games to 1 after day 1. In the end though, both teams placed horribly in grand finals and the French Fortnite scene made a lot of enemies. Back in the earliest days of Fortnite, the ultimate determinant of skill were the leaderboards, but due to third-party softwares emerging and competitive matches just playing out way differently than the average Fortnite game, the leaderboards have effectively died. There have been a variety of rewards given out for ranked over the history of Fortnite, the first of which being arena wraps, which displayed a unique icon depending on what your highest division was, but because wraps are a pretty shit incentive, nobody really cared. But Epic has seemingly never learned as ranked awards continue to be pretty bad, hence why ranked mode is dead these days and nobody cares for it. At the Fortnite World Cup, the camera panned onto Benji Fishy looking a bit distraught as he sat in his chair. But then he noticed the camera was panned onto him and he gave a little thumbs up in response, and little did he know how big of a moment this would become, being shared pretty much everywhere on social media. Liquipedia is an esports wiki owned by Team Liquid. They of course have a Fortnite offshoot which just so happens to be the best resource for researching a pro player's placements and accomplishments, because fandom sucks and everyone should stop using fandom. Superhero skins are the de facto skin of Fortnite competitive. When they first released, you were able to make them all black and all white, giving you a competitive advantage, though after a slew of adjustments, they are nowhere near as game-breaking today, but the vast majority of competitive players still use them since they still offer a slight competitive advantage. In November of 2019, Jarvis was an up-and-coming controller prodigy who nearly qualified to the World Cup, but in November of 2019, he very stupidly uploaded a video of him using full-blown aimbot in pub matches. While it was just for a video, it should have never been done and Epic slapped him with a hard permanent ban. Though just a few months ago, Epic unbanned all individuals who were previously serving lifetime bans, so Jarvis is finally able to legally play again. Flopper player is a term that saw frequent use in Chapter 2 at the height of the flopper meta. It was used to describe people who would seemingly only place in tournaments by abusing heal-off strats with floppers. Frey was the most well-known flopper player around this era, though his title was soon to be claimed by Cray with his famous heal-off strat. Fortnite.gg is a website that hosts lots of analytics about every facet of Fortnite. Most commonly used by competitive players though is the interactive map, which is often utilized to plan loot routes, make drop maps, and make tournament maps that show where every pro is landing. Since Chapter 2 Season 6, Epic has released an FNCS skin every season, and unlike ranked awards, a lot of these actually look really nice and are widely used by players. Unfortunately, Epic still refuses to use FNCS skins as an opportunity to crowdfund prize pools. KinchStats refers to the stat tracking software developed by Kinch Analytics, an Oxford graduate with a degree in mathematics. You can use their Discord bot to get in-depth stats on everything you did in the Fortnite tournament. While it is a great tool for getting better at the game, it is also hugely controversial. Many people hold the opinion that KinchStats ruin competitive for two connected reasons. First is that a lot of people like to take KinchStats way too seriously, and see that if your stats are subpar, immediately write you off as a teammate option. This then leads into problem 2, where instead of playing to get better at the game, people simply play to quote, farm KinchStats in the most optimal way possible. Whether it be by pushing fights you should never push, or just sitting in a surge base tagging people for damage all game. So in the end, the only person here winning is Kinch getting that bag. DMA, or Direct Memory Access, is a piece of hardware that allows other hardware components outside of a computer to access a memory without the involvement of a CPU. While this is great for expediting data transfers, it unfortunately also makes for a great way to cheat in video games. One of the main ways anti-cheats detect cheating is by checking for any suspicious activity involving your CPU, so by bypassing it entirely, anti-cheats don't get flagged. Fortunately, anti-cheats are always improving and DMA cards are ridiculously expensive, so it is out of reach for a lot of cheaters. Many people expected the 2024 Globals LAN to be a clean sweep for Peterbot, and while Peterbot did dominate, Queasy and Thomas HG kept it close the entire time. This led to quite a few iconic interactions between the two, with the most famous one being Peterbot staring down Queasy after 1v2ing them in Game 11. Unite is a software and Discord bot that is most commonly used for running community-hosted tournaments and scrims. It is often the most secure way to run custom matches, as codes are only distributed to verified users by the Unite bot. Sprite's 1v3 reboot round is one of, if not the most iconic clutch in Fortnite history. For some context as to why it was so good, for the entire season, Sprite and his trio were locked in a heated spawn battle with Clix, Bizzle, and Booga. Despite Sprite's trio usually winning, Clix's trio could not drop their egos and played the grief Sprite. Miraculously though, Sprite placed 17th in heats, just enough to qualify to the reboot round, whereas Sprite ultimately did this.
Nice! 13 goes. Coming up. Nice! He's coming up!
Slyjack is a still somehow criminally underrated tips and tricks content creator, though in recent times he has finally been gaining notoriety, especially after CypherPK reacted to one of his videos on his YouTube channel. Repulsegod was a former Fortnite pro from Australia. In his prime, he was insanely good at the game, and one of the only OCE players to have ever placed highly in an international LAN. He later went on to quit the game in mid-2021, but then he returned in 2023, and it seemed like he had never left. And he was also playing on controller now. It was eventually revealed to be a whole cheating scandal involving Repulsegod selling his account. Epic eventually sued him and forced him to post an apology on his YouTube channel. Clutch Up is a YouTube channel ran by Teddy Moss and Somebody's Gun that makes documentaries on Fortnite, mostly on the stories of FNCS tournaments, but they occasionally make other videos too. Definitely check them out. Osirian GG is similar to Fortnite.gg, but their data analytics focus a lot more on the competitive side of Fortnite. They are most commonly cited for their in-depth changelogs of Fortnite loot pools, essentially becoming a de facto replacement to patch notes. The Trulex base is a term used to describe this kind of base that pro players commonly build in Fortnite matches. The namesake comes courtesy of pro player Trulex, whose passive and methodical playstyle that involved maximizing storm surge tags pretty much changed Fortnite competitive forever. Paris is a pretty cool YouTuber who makes videos on Fortnite, so definitely subscribe to him, no pressure though. Both Ninja and CypherPK nearly qualified to the Fortnite World Cup. In Week 6, Ninja and Reverse 2K were 2 spots off of qualifying. It was pretty clear that Ninja was holding his own. As for Cypher, he came just 3 spots away from qualifying with Ranger in Week 8 on NA West. Similar to flopper players, baller player was a term used to describe people who can only place in tournaments by abusing ballers. This is most commonly associated with Psalm, who placed second in the Fortnite World Cup finals, using ballers throughout to farm placement points. The current solo vs squads kill record is held by pro player Reet, which was 52 kills set on May 8, 2024. This record will likely stand for a really long time, since kill racing in pubs is pretty much a dead art form at this point. In May of 2019, a bombshell dropped on the community after a lawsuit between Tfue and FaZe Clan went public. The lawsuit alleged that FaZe Clan doled out predatory contracts to its players, with the worst clause in the contracts being that 80% of Tfue's supporter creator code revenue went straight to FaZe Clan. Eventually, the lawsuit was settled outside of court 1 year later, and most of the drama has blown over today. Many people know Aqua as the winner of the Duo World Cup, but in 2025, Aqua has essentially ruined his entire career to partake in a gambling sponsorship. Since the start of the year, he has frequently tweeted many blatantly racist tweets in order to drum up tons of shock value for CSGO Empire, a Counter-Strike gambling outlet that has a long history of controversial marketing campaigns, truly a downfall that needs to be studied. While today Stable Ronaldo is famous for his daily escapades of FaZe Clan, in 2019 he was a nobody, but one clip that absolutely exploded his Twitch channel was him singing Payphone by Maroon 5. It has since become a big meme within his community, with him singing it here and there. Legless 90s are a building technique that allow you to gain height without even moving. Because the inputs for it are extremely convoluted, they have no relevant use in game, but it is always fun to watch skilled players perform them and soar to the height limit. It seems that on every single Fortnite map, Kami and Seti always find a random unnamed split drop that is extremely good, with pros like Vino even saying that if you want to learn how to play a new season, then watch Kami and Seti's first tournament. No single player is more famous for snaking their teammates than Bugha. Bugha really is the embodiment of playing Fortnite for business, with some of his most controversial snakes being when he dropped Muzz after they won FNCS together, and making Agers drop Kanata after they won FNCS together, and it seems that Bugha embraces his reputation as he has tweeted this picture on multiple occasions. Visualize Audio is a toggle in the Fortnite settings that maps out audio cues on a circular radar. This setting pretty much broke the entire game once Fortnite enabled directional audio while the setting was turned on, and to this day, debates still go on about whether or not it should be enabled in competitive. EmadGG was one of the OGs of Fortnite viewing parties, and was beloved by the community. His streams peaked around early 2020 with plenty of iconic moments, but in August of 2022, Emad quit Fortnite altogether in order to pursue other ventures in life, and these days he rarely engages with social media at all. Soccer skins were the first true sweat skins of Fortnite, way before superhero skins existed. If you look at any VODs of old Fortnite tournaments, the lobbies were always filled with people wearing these skins, but these days, the ire of soccer skins is entirely dead. Arab is a former Fortnite pro and streamer who has since pivoted to being a bald and bankrupt clone. This landed him in trouble in early 2024 when he ventured into Haiti and was kidnapped by gangsters. He was held ransom for a few weeks before being released after his family negotiated for an unknown amount. The Mitro Shockwave play is one of the first true viral moments that came out of Fortnite competitive. In retrospect, it's basic, but at the time it was revolutionary. In the middle of an FNCS tournament, pro player Joji's dog was going insane while he was trying to clutch up, leading to one of the funniest moments of all time. A couple of Fortnite pros could be classified as one-hit wonders. Nyrox is probably the most fitting example, as he won the Duo World Cup and then didn't really do much else after. Best Fortnite player in every category was an old series started by Itchjarian in 2019. It was truly a content farm of all time, including best band players, best controller players, best YouTubers, best women, and so on. Similar to Ron and Payphone, it was a meme in Mr. Savage's community for a while to sing the shitpost of a song that was Skechers by Drip Report.
Girl, light up Skechers.
ELO manipulation refers to various techniques you could do to make it so you only queued into lower ELO tournament lobbies. There were many methods, but one common one was having one of your teammates disconnect before winning, which would then not count your game's previous points in the eyes of the matchmaker, therefore putting you in a lower ELO lobby in your next game. 1X was a sort of informal org back in early 2020's Fortnite, consisting of names like Unknown, Ops, Macwood, and Epic Whale. These days, it is kind of dead since Unknown and Ops who founded the group have long since quit. For a brief stint of 3 seasons in 2020, Epic ran an official console FNCS alongside a regular FNCS. The tournaments were hugely controversial because for some ungodly reason, the prize pool was split 50-50, meaning that the console FNCS winners on EU made more money than the PC FNCS winners on NA East. Despite every game, not just competitive games, but I mean every single fucking game having an FOV slider, Fortnite still does not have one. They removed stretch resolution in 2019 for a couple of strange reasons, and have since never spoken about bringing it back. Pro Player Day hit this insane clip on Epic Whale and uttered this iconic phrase.
Hey, you guys are both on low.
Full
Pissed on, nigga!
1% is a now disbanded org that was founded by Nyx, Random, Kiwis, and Formula. The team was pretty successful with FNCS winner signings like Acorn, but in late 2020, old drama about Kiwis being a pedophile resurfaced and Kiwis promptly disassociated with the brand. Despite that, the team was just never the same and they eventually were acquired by Ghost Gaming. Prior to the Chapter 6 Season 2 FNCS, a Danish player had never won an FNCS. Second place after second place, the nation was truly cursed. But ultimately, Marius Cow and his trio came through and finally got Denmark their first FNCS win. The Zexor 1v6 is an iconic clip from Season X of Zexor 1v6ing Tfue, Cloaksy, 72 Hours, Pika, Rux, and Joel. This rampfoot play was actually insane for the time, no doubt making this the best play of 2019. But in 2022, Walkers hit one of the best clips in Fortnite history. The clip went viral on Twitter, garnering 47,000 likes, but for all the wrong reasons. Individuals with huge followings like Some Ordinary Gamers and Korn reposted it, and it caused a whole bunch of casuals to flock to the post and start flaming him. Typical Twitter degeneracy that all of us love. In mid-2019, Tfue went viral for his ability to spot llamas from thousands of meters away, and when him and Symphony managed to pin down the locations of all 5 llamas before they even landed, some people began to question if it was cheats, but in reality it was just tons of practice and a little bit of help from colorblind settings. This was unintentionally nerfed in Chapter 2 Season 7 when llamas were updated to be alive, meaning they can no longer be rendered past a certain point. But with llamas now being reverted back to static objects, you can once again spot llamas from thousands of meters away. Since 2020, Chipotle of all companies has been sponsoring esports tournaments in various games. In Fortnite specifically, up until 2022, Chipotle periodically hosted tournaments where the winners would get a year's supply of free burritos. What would you do if you won a reboot round game? Because I'm 100% sure it wouldn't be this.
I think it's a 1v1.
Nice! Oh my god! I'm throwing it back right now!
The debut of the Booga late game LTM in late 2021 was a huge success, so naturally Epic would announce that tournaments would be hosted in the game mode, only for them to be riddled with bugs and delayed, again and again, until the idea was sadly shelved. I'm sure many of you have played, or still do play on awful setups. I sure did back a few years ago, but there really is no setup that compares to the atrocity that is Has a great setup. I have no idea how he even plays with this wrist angle, and how the actual fuck did his headphone wire get like that? During the Fortnite World Cup solo LAN, Letwick was disqualified from his final game for supposedly screen peeking, but according to Letwick, what actually happened was that he glanced over at the player next to him because he slammed his desk and it spooked him. The aftermath of this was recorded and you can see Letwick in tears as his chances of life-changing money were ruined. At the DreamHack Dallas 2022 LAN, some random loser decided to drop on Diego Plays and ruin his game just because he was in first place. Diego was understandably frustrated and ended up finding where he was in the venue and throwing punches at him. Enigma Zone Wars, officially known as Downhill River Zone Wars, was the most iconic of the early Zone Wars maps. Pretty much every pro was playing this back in the day, though the map has long since faded into obscurity. Part of the reason it faded into obscurity was the emergence of box fights. Fiber's box fight map was the first of its kind and commonly used for practice once Chapter 2 started. Once Click's box fights were released a few months later, the map bled most of its player base. Mongrel's Edit Course might be the first ever practice map in Fortnite that gained widespread notoriety. Every single pro player and streamer tried their hand at getting the fastest time, where it ultimately settled at a 2-minute and 42-second 3-way tie. One common trend that seems to always happen in the Fortnite space is pros starkly declining in skill once they get a girlfriend. It makes sense given that you need to grind an insane amount to stay on top. Not even Peterbot is safe from the girlfriend skill decline. Streamer Highlights is a go-to clip channel for all things competitive Fortnite. Unlike a lot of clip channels, he put tons of effort in his videos collecting perspectives from many different streamers and then putting them together into one seamless montage. Pretty much all the surviving footage from Fortnite's earliest tournaments and scrims comes from this guy's channel. Unfortunately, he has not uploaded since March of 2019 and nobody knows where he went. When XQC went on his Fortnite competitive arc in 2019, he was of course trolled to a massive extent by stream snipers, but there was one who stood above the rest. Sporting a banana skin with his iconic saxophone emote, Jewel Trooper harassed XQC to no end and farmed him for clips all day. He faded into obscurity once XQC moved on from Fortnite, but when XQC launched Fortnite again 4 years later, a familiar face was there to greet him. There is unfortunately no way to know if this is fake though. If you didn't know, smurfing is actually against Fortnite's terms of service, and in 2019, Aiden was banned for smurfing in arena mode, definitely one of the lesser known pro player bans in Fortnite's history. Fortnite seemingly ran competitive on some kind of tight budget after the first FNCS, because the Chapter 2 Season 1 and the Chapter 2 Season 2 FNCS had no official broadcast. Just think about how insane that is. If you wanted to watch competitive, you had to do it through viewing party streamers, and those viewing party streamers were forced to use replay mode to watch the tournament, which had a 5-minute delay. Luckily, the broadcast came back for Solo Invitational and has been a staple since. In mid-2019, some random guy went viral for making some strange montages all under the name of Gayface Sway. While at first it started as a joke, the guy eventually tried to monetize it all and got a supported creator code, purely off Sway's likeness. This made Sway understandably upset, but the channel died out pretty quickly and is mostly forgotten these days. Pro player Swilliam, who most of you know as LetSheet's duo partner, accidentally revealed macros on stream. Swilliam had previously been accused of using pickup macros in the past to get better drops, but it was all confirmed live on stream when he tried to report a player for cheating. After pressing the F key on his keyboard, 13 opening brackets appeared in the text box, which is a pretty dead giveaway that he is some kind of macro bound to his F key. Despite that, he went unpunished since Epic has always been pretty hands off about pros using pickup macros. Just like Swilliam, Mongrel and his coach Destiny Jesus dodged a ban back in the day too. It started when Fortnite coach BloodX tweeted about how a well-known team was using other players' streamed POVs to stream snipe. Hours later, Dexerto came out with an article where they said they acquired a clip from an anonymous source. This clip came from a now deleted Mongrel video, hence why the quality is so bad, but in the video you can basically hear Destiny's Jesus admit to stream sniping and feeding the information to Mongrel.
That is so different team then. Different team.
Wait, are they contested Destiny?
Yeah, they contested. They went Pleasant.
Wait, they went Pleasant?
At the PAX West Solo LAN during the qualifiers, a difficult scenario occurred where the players in 33rd and 34th were tied on every metric: total points, total wins, average eliminations, and even average placement. Now the reason this was significant was that the top 33 made it to finals, meaning that the contest for that very last 33rd spot was being held in an unbreakable tie. So what did Fortnite do? A fucking coin flip. Cryomi ended up winning the coin flip, and understandably Colton was frustrated. Before he rug pulled meme coins, Creo scammed little kids for accounts on Fortnite. Before Creo started making any real money from competing, he boosted stats for payment. This is when a kid named Noah approached him and asked him for a boost. Eventually the two became acquainted and Noah bought a $110 account off of Creo. Over the next few months, Creo proceeded to beg Noah to let him log into his old account. When questioned, Creo said it was because he wanted to try the Burnout skin. Over the next few months, the two went back and forth until Creo eventually stole both of the accounts and ghosted Noah. The worst part about it all was that he was making 6 figures by the time he was exposed, yet he was so hesitant to just give the kid his Fortnite account back. In the Chapter 2 Season 4 FNCS, Gage, Connor, and Pledge managed to clutch up big time and win the reboot round, but then midway through the grand finals, Pledge randomly said he was logging off because his parents forced him to go to a Halloween party. While the team was near the bottom of the leaderboard, it was still understandable of his teammates to crash out on him.
Pledge has a Halloween party to go to. A multi-$100,000 tournament.
He said his brother can stay home so he can ready up for last game so he can play, but why can't he stay home? Like,
I don't know, man.
I don't get it. Like, I'm actually so angry. I'm actually gonna explode. Like, I can't.
Llama Lords is one of Fortnite Competitive's earliest super teams, being made up of Zate, General, Risker, and Parallax. The namesake of the team has since been carried on to Deadlock Esports by Young Calc. Legit Kleppen is an iconic phrase coined by Mitro that was heavily used back in 2019. Despite mentions of the phrase being all over social media, I can't for the life of me seem to find a single clip of Mitro saying it, so someone in the comments help me with that one. Harry Potter was a common phrase used by competitive players in 2018 to refer to when you try to jump and place a ramp, but you got stuck under the ramp, referring to the fact that Harry Potter lived under the stairs. One of the earliest proven cheating scandals in Fortnite history came in the Fall Skirmish Week 1. Funkbomb died early game and decided to pull up the official broadcast to feed outside information to Nate Hill as he was clutching.
Straight to your west.
Yeah, he's
Like southwest, he's 30 health. I feel like this is cheating, but...
Funkbomb was given an indefinite ban from all skirmishes going forward, but allowed to compete at the TwitchCon Finals LAN, while Nate Hill was given a lighter punishment due to only being complicit in the scandal. In what is probably the worst example of Fortnite pros being immature, former pro Wrigley decided to tweet this just days prior to the Chapter 2 Season 5 FNCS Grand Finals. As a result, his entire team was suspended from the tournament, deservedly so. Wavy Jacob was banned for 14 days for exploiting just before the FNCS Solo All-Stars began, but everyone later found out it was because he changed his name to this. I won't decode it for you, but I'm sure most of you can understand it. So he potentially lost out on $35,000 because of a username. In 2020, beloved analyst Paula TW was fired. Did he make a controversial tweet? Did he say something controversial? No. He wrote a blog post about why solo sucks, and yes, they fired him over it. In late 2021, a pro named Redux stated that he wouldn't be playing FNCS Heats because he was going to put down his dog. Keep in mind that by doing this, he was forfeiting his entire team's chance to play as well. Young Calc would then respond saying, "I just don't understand why you have to miss Heats for this." Despite Calc not even saying anything crazy here, he was lambasted by mainstream gaming Twitter to no end. In Fortnite, you can edit two opposing corners of a cone to create what is colloquially known as a Dorito, and if you're Team Liquid, you troll the entire tournament by building a sky base out of them.
What the fuck am I goddamn looking at?
That has to be Liquid. You want to join them?
The most forgotten rivalry in Fortnite history is that between Mongrel and Symphony. In late 2018, both players had mastered editing and it was kinda the norm for the two to exchange banter back and forth. Symphony would always make fun of how shaky and sweaty Mongrel got while editing, while Mongrel made fun of Symphony's slower speed and big ass nose.
This is his nose.
Symphony big nose bot literally worst player all regions big ass nose slow 90s Omega in the chat Symphony big nose.
This is a bit of a callback to my previous Iceberg, but the whole thing about bullying his mom was actually about a player named YY Edge. His mom told him to get off of the game, and he responded by saying,
All done. I'll punch you in the throat, retard. All done. Oh my fucking god, you are not on that for 2 days! No.
Needless to say, with how absurd this clip was, it went viral. You may wonder why Fortnite awards you kill credit for opponents that leave the match. Well, this is because in early 2019, Zexor left a pop-up cup mid-match in order to not award his opponent kill credit. His opponent was actually Colosso, and he ended up posting the clip to Twitter and it went somewhat viral, forcing Zexor to apologize and eventually leading Fortnite to change their rules. Tory Lanez is a famous rapper who participated in the Fortnite Friday tournaments back in 2019. During the week he participated in, he was playing suspiciously well for someone who wasn't much of a Fortnite player. While nobody had any proof that he was cheating, insane amounts of pressure from the community forced Tory Lanez to quit the tournament early, posting a video mocking the Fortnite community on his way out. It wasn't until 4 entire years later that we found out what actually happened, when former pro player Assault tweeted that, quote, "It's been enough time. I may or may not have been the reason Tory Lanez is dropping 20 plus kills a game." To which Keemstar replied, "Friday Fortnite scammers." In the 2018 Winter Royale, 72 Hours was in the lead going into the last game. He had good mats and just got a hold of the Infinity Sword. It was looking like his game to win.
This would have been a 3-point swish. Look at this. Look at that.
Because of that glitch, he ended up placing second and losing $15,000. But that was nowhere near as bad as Epic Whale losing $600,000 to a reload. In Game 5 of the Fortnite World Cup Solos, Epic Whale was in a great high ground position and just lasered a player down to 80 HP. All he had to do was just hit a full damage pump shot to clean up the kill. But then...
Just quick note, Epic Whale is currently in 6th position. Riverson in 4th, so this is a battle at the top of the leaderboard, stuck inside a box, a back and forth. No!
As a result of this fumble, he placed 3rd by 1 single point. Had he got the kill and been able to play the game out, he surely would have been able to net enough points to overtake Solomon and place 2nd, a difference of $600,000. Sin3278 was an unknown Tier 2 pro up until May 22nd, 2022, but he had an amazing performance in the qualifier weeks and was able to qualify to his second ever Grand Finals, but then, days before the Grand Finals, he tweeted this horrific video.
Just in case there's ever a zombie apocalypse or a nerd outbreak, we got the armory, nigga. Got the armory. Got the ammo and the pistols.
This is one of the most depraved videos to come out of the Fortnite competitive scene, and the community seemed to agree, advocating for him to be banned. The worst part is that he only seemed to double down on his actions after his post went viral. Shortly after, Epic quietly banned him and erased him from the leaderboard. Hopefully, this kid has found the help he needs. And that is it. Check out part 1 and subscribe while you're at it.